Do you have a great idea in your head but you struggle on where to start? Do you ever think, I have this amazing plot in my head, but if only I could start somewhere, if only I could get those first few sentences down, then all of the other ideas are going to start flowing onto the page. Hi everyone, my name is LaSalle Murray, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 effective ways to start your story with bold beginnings. The first way to start your story effectively with a bold beginning is Number 1. Introducing the reader to a memorable narrator protagonist. A popular way of starting a story is from the very first line being introduced to the characterful narrator, someone with an extremely distinct personality. And this is normally done in first person. It's a way to address the reader directly and give a sense of familiarity. Take the famous book, The Catcher in the Rye. We have Salinger Holden Caulfield's distinct teen persona. The story starts off like this. If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born, and what my lousy childhood was like, and how my parents were occupied, and all before they had me, and all that David Copperfield kind of crap. But I don't feel like going into it, if you want to know the truth. Why is this effective? It's effective because the narrator is addressing the reader directly. His use of the words crap and lousy give a really great insight into him as a character as well, since he uses colloquial terms quite regularly. It also really emphasizes the fact that he's a teenager and that he is trying to gain a sense of familiarity with the reader themselves. The same can be said over Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita, where the story begins with the depraved anti-hero Humbert, obsessing over the object of his desire. Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul, Lolita. The tip of the tongue taking a trip of 3 steps down to the palate to tap at 3, on the teeth, Lolita. Here, the personality and the psychology of the character are present from the very first line. So remember, when you start the story with a main character, you want to give your character 2 main things. A distinct voice. Whether it be language they use or the subject they speak of, such as Humbert speaking of the object of his desire, Lolita. And you want to show what matters from the get-go. The second way to start with a bold beginning is beginning the story with crucial memory. It's another way to introduce your main character, but instead you recall an event that is paramount to the story. This is especially effective in murder mysteries, where the story surrounds the singular, unforgettable event of the murder. You could also do something that is prior to the murder, that leads up to it. The character's own memory gives weight to the event, even if it is very subjective. You can begin your story with the memory of an earlier scene, or of the murder, or right afterwards. You want to begin your story with either a powerful emotional experience that ultimately has consequences on your character. An example of this is Mark Haddon's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, where the opening begins with the protagonist Christopher finding his neighbor's murdered dog. It was 7 minutes after midnight. The dog was lying on the grass in the middle of the lawn, in front of Mrs. Shear's house. Its eyes were closed. It looked as if it was running on its side, the way dogs run when they think they're chasing a cat in a dream. But the dog was not running or asleep. The dog was dead. There was a garden fork sticking out of the dog. It not only gives details of the actual story, but it gives details into Christopher's own character, because later on, he hugs the dead dog. It shows you that he's very unusual. We discover the dead dog through Christopher's eyes, as opposed to a third-person narrator telling about the events. We get an insight of his memory, his perspective, and his own emotions regarding finding and seeing the dog. This allows the reader to actually experience the emotions of the narrator firsthand, and could possibly evoke the same feelings in the reader, causing them to want to know more. The third tip that I have for you today is starting the novel with ambiguous action. Ambiguous action? What does this mean? Well, starting the story off with ambiguity, a mystery, confusion can be a great way of intriguing your reader, making them want to know more. But you shouldn't make the story too mystifying to the point where it really just bores the reader. You don't want to write 2 pages where you're not answering any questions or contributing to the plot, because this is going to make the reader put the book down. So you want to have a great balance between having a mystifying story but also revealing key bits within the story. Take Ray Bradbury's novel Fahrenheit 451. It was a pleasure to burn. It was a special pleasure to see things eaten, to see things blackened and changed. With the brass nozzle in his fists, and with the great python spitting its venomous kerosene upon the world, the blood pounded in his head, and his hands were the hands of some amazing conductor playing all the symphonies of blazing and burning to bring down the tatters and charcoal ruins of history. There is suspense and confusion integrated into this, while simultaneously revealing the character's personality. This paragraph is elusive because it makes the reader ask, who is burning? And what are they burning? There is confusion and mystery integrated with revealing the character's personality. It is revealed that they take pleasure in burning. That's why, when starting the story off with an ambiguous narrative, you want to ask yourself about the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. Here, in this first paragraph, the why is revealed. We understand that this character is burning something because they take pleasure in burning. So Bradbury reveals that character trait from the get-go, while keeping it elusive, and later on we figure out who is burning, and we figure out that they are burning books, and then we figure out the story along the way. So the fourth effective way of starting a novel can be leading your story in with a purposeful prologue. The word prologue literally means before word, so the foreword. The foreword is used to separate the introductory section from the novel. Prologues can help by giving broad historical context that pave the way for the main story, showing a scene or an event preceding the main narrative, whose consequences ripple through the following story. For example, in Donna Tartt's novel, The Secret History, her prologue describes that a character is murdered, that the narrator is somehow complicit, and that the protagonist will narrate the events that lead up to the murder. Tartt's prologue thus wastes no time in revealing key information that shapes our expectation of the main story. The snow in the mountains was melting, and Bunny had been dead for several weeks before we came to understand the gravity of our situation. He'd been dead for 10 days before they found him, you know. Oh, also side note, it's not a real bunny, it's an actual person. We're not just talking about dead animals here all the time. If you want to include a prologue into your narrative, you have to ask yourself these 2 questions. Do the events in the first section of my book need telling before the main action? If yes, then why? Would my story flow better if I told earlier events via character flashbacks or a prologue? An exercise that you can try out is thinking about your first scene. First, write it as a flashback, and then write it as a prologue. After reading both of these, assess which one works better for your specific narrative. The 5th and final tip that I have for you today is opening with the unexpected. Like with Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, the scene is opened up with something unexpected, something elusive. We see this character burning something. We wonder as the reader, are they burning a person? Are they burning a house? What are they burning? It makes you ask, why? It gets the ball rolling in that moment of intrigue. We want to figure out from the first few sentences what is going on. Similarly, in Dodie Smith's book, I Capture the Castle, the narrator starts off by saying, I write here sitting in the sink, which is an unusual place to sit and write. As the reader, you ask, why is she sitting in the sink? What is she writing? What is the purpose of her sitting in the sink? So whichever way you choose to begin your novel, the most crucial takeaway from all of these points is you want to capture your reader's attention. You want to grab it to the point that they will continue reading on. The biggest feat for a writer is getting the reader to read past the second line. So to end off our video, I'm going to summarize the 5 effective ways of starting a story with a bold beginning. Number 1, introducing the reader to a memorable protagonist. Number 2, beginning the story with a crucial memory. Number 3, starting off with ambiguous or mysterious action. Number 4, leading your story in with a purposeful prologue. Number 5, opening up with an unexpected beginning. That's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe to our page for more videos and content. Please go and check out our website at nownovel.com. You can ask us any queries on the page itself, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at nownovel. I'm LaSalle Murray, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video.